Hello, welcome to Humble Theology. My name is John. In this video series, we're looking at different Bible Mandela effects. So things that seem different, as if we've crossed timelines or dimensions or things like that, that people remember one thing one way and they are now seeing something else and go, well, that doesn't seem right. So for today's episode, is there a separate 10 Commandments that maybe you didn't know about? This comes from Exodus 34, verses 11 through 26. There is a covenant renewal being discussed here, a summary, I guess you could say, of events where Moses, obviously, he went up the mountain the first time, got the tablets that God made, and had the 10 Commandments on those as you originally know them, or the 10 moral commandments. He comes down the mountain, God sends him down, there's trouble in the camp, and clearly they've made a golden calf, and in anger, Moses throws the tablets down, and they're broken, and so forth, and after a time of basically addressing this sin with the people, Moses is called to go back up the mountain. This time he's supposed to bring basically like a cart that he makes, a certain type of wood, for this cart and everything, and to carve out 2 tablets and bring those up as well. So he does, and then within this section of scripture, people are reading them, and there's 10 rules here, or statutes, or commands, but some people are saying, well, this reads differently. Is this a new set of 10 commandments? And is it really saying that he wrote on these commandments? Are these the new 10 commandments? That's just not the case. The 10 things, the 10 statutes, rules, laws, whatever you want to call them, that are listed here in Exodus 34 are more along the lines of a summary. It has some of the ritual elements, some of the ceremonial elements, and some of the moral elements from the law. It's a summary of the different types of laws and commands that Moses had received from God basically throughout. So it's not the new type of 10 Commandments. It's a summary of the 10 Commandments plus all the other stuff he had received over time. When he says there in verse 27 and 28, so just the 2 verses later, the Lord said for Moses, write these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. Okay, write these words. Okay, well, he does. There's the first 5 books of the Bible are called the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses. So he writes these, Leviticus, a whole set of Levitical ceremonial laws. Moses writes those down. It's not that all this ends up on the tablets. Verse 28, so he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. Well, that's a long time to receive a lot of information. He neither ate bread or drank water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 Commandments. Okay, so on the tablets went the 10 Commandments. It doesn't say on the tablets went what we just read in chapter 34, just a couple verses earlier, 11 through 26. He doesn't say he wrote those things down. He said he wrote the 10 Commandments back down. So what are the 10 Commandments? Well, that's what we have in the moral law that we saw in Exodus 20. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make any graven images, not take the name of the Lord in vain. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Honor your father and the mother. Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness. Don't covet. These are the 10 Commandments, the actual 10 Commandments that he writes down on the tablets. So if you're reading this maybe for the first time, or you've been through Exodus only a fraction of the time, or someone just throws this out, oh, have you heard there's a different 10 Commandments? It could be a little overwhelming to go, oh, I hadn't heard about that. Oh, what is this? Oh, look, it says 10 Commandments here 2 verses later, and boy, there's 10 things going on here in verses 11 through 26. Wow, I never knew this. But that's just not the case. There's a summary, and then it says what he has been writing down for 40 days and 40 nights, what he takes down with him, and then obviously there's what's on the tablets themselves. Now, for further commentary on this, if you don't want to believe what I'm saying, well, believe Moses. When he writes these things down, again, another one of his books in Deuteronomy, if you start in chapter 5, verses 13 through 14, there's the reiteration of the 10 Commandments, the moral law. It's not the Exodus 34, 11 through 26 one. It's what we saw in Exodus 20, is now in Deuteronomy 5. Where he's talking about what God gave him as the 10 Commandments. And then even later on in Deuteronomy 10, verses 2 and 4, he's recounting the information again. It says, I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablet that you broke, and you shall put them in the ark. So, God is telling him, again, it's a retelling the same narrative over again. And God says, the tablets that you're bringing up to me now, I gave you the first tablets, you broke them. Now on the next set of tablets you're bringing up, I'm going to write to them, what does it say? The words that were on the first tablet. And if you keep reading, verse 3, cut the 2 tablets just like the stone of the first. He went up the mountain with the 2 hands, and he wrote on the tablets in the same writing as before, the 10 commandments that the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain out of the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them to me. So here we have a reiteration or another version of the story, a retelling of the story, where it clarifies for us that what's on the second set of tablets, it's not a new 10 Commandments, it's the original. What did Moses come down with? Well, he came down with the 10 Commandments, but with tons of other rules and statutes, ceremonial law, moral law, civil law, things like that. We get a fuller picture of that. You could say maybe it's fuller picture or more explanation of that in Deuteronomy 30, verses 15 and 16. As Moses is recounting the covenant before the people, he says, See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, by walking in his ways, by keeping his commandments and his statutes and his rules, then you shall live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. So, wait, I thought they only had 10 commandments to live by. No, they have commandments, statutes, rules. Again, the law of Moses is usually depicted in 3 forms. There's the moral law, which is the 10 commandments. There's the ceremonial laws, which are all the different religious practices and rites that they're supposed to follow. And then there's civil laws, things for just how society was designed by God to work in the administration of what the people of God were at that time as a society, as a theocracy. And even as a king later on, still held to the same principles. So I hope that helps. So there's not a different or new 10 commandments that everybody missed, or you need to take your posters down and draft new ones. The 10 commandments are the 10 commandments from Deuteronomy 5 or Exodus 20. They're the same commands. And this other section in Exodus, although it's neat to point out, it gets people to read their Bible, so it's kind of neat. I hope that helps. God bless, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.